And welcome to another edition of East LA Sports Scene in Studio Edition. It's coming to you from the very heart and soul of Boyle Heights, California, the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, the home for East LA Sports Scene as we come indoors and take time out from field productions and get back into talking to our guests one-on-one. And my guest tonight, because we are right at the beginning of football season and we speak across the board, whether you're NFL, down at Pop Warner, it's football time, and it's all over our community here in East LA and beyond. And as I mentioned, our guest tonight is going to be a head coach from Wilson High School, the home of the Mighty Mules, Coach Eddie Martinez. Coach, it's good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome, and it's always a good chance to connect with the veteran coaches, the veteran mentors and leaders of our community, especially you, Coach, at Wilson High School, 31 years.
Yes.
And we have got to say, jobs well done.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, actually. I don't do as many demonstrations as I did in the past, probably. Like, if they don't know, I can't explain it, then I'll have my younger coaches do it. But
Okay.
It's been fun. It's been great. I still enjoy it, and so hopefully more to come.
And no stranger, of course, to East LA Sports Scene. We go way back, coaches. You can recall when we first started doing play-by-play, and always welcoming us with open arms to the campus of Wilson High School was yourself and your coaches and the faculty. We thank you.
I mean, it was great to get our kids exposure, and we always appreciated what you did and do for us. So, yeah, it was fun. Those early times were fun. Yeah,
absolutely. And they continue on, and there's no stopping. Head coach Eddie Martinez, we'll talk about his plans for the future, maybe in another program. But right now, Coach, 2015, schedules are set. Kickoff is within, 3 or 4 more days. Mm-hmm. A new season and all the excitement and build-up and start of a new season for you. Let's talk about the prospects, but of course we do want to recap 2014 as you prepare now for 2015.
Well, a lot of young kids in our team last year, and it's always great when you have experience, and these guys are now a year older, hopefully a year wiser, and I'm really, really proud of their work ethic now because it shows. I think our kids are that we expect a lot out of have matured a lot, and that's always going to be something that you can't, experience is something. If you have a young team, you're going to have young mistakes and so on, and we're hopefully that we're past that, and our kids can just get out there and perform.
And that's what coaches do. It's your responsibility, Coach, to put the best team on the field that you can and with the players that you can, and understanding it's a very, very difficult game. Yeah. Injuries certainly can change the best laid plans of any coach. Yes. However, you persevered, and last year, bit of a struggle, but playoffs were reachable, and you made it to the playoffs.
Yes, and it was good to get there because now our players have that playoff experience. And they got a taste of that, and so now it's pretty much that's not satisfying for them. They want to move, deeper in the playoffs. But it was a rough struggle, and again, we made young mistakes. We had trouble moving the football. We had trouble defending people. I mean, we gave up a lot of points. So we made some adjustments, some changes. We've had different coaches come to our staff. Sure. And hopefully we've gotten that straightened out, and we're ready for the new year.
And again, as I mentioned, the injury word was very key for you last year, almost sometimes too difficult to overcome in one season when the depth is not as abundant as many other schools.
Yeah, I mean, depth always on a smaller team is going to be a killer. And we had a lot of kids with concussions and just various things, and that's part of the game. And I think a lot too with the concussion awareness that's around right now in football and all levels. That our 6 concussions is like unprecedented. That we never really experienced that. So I think a lot of it now is that, like I said, hopefully we put those behind. We got the injury bug behind, and we're still not a really deep team, and but the guys that we have that are in our frontline positions are very good.
And as you said, the JVs have come up. The players that were on the varsity last year who were underclassmen have now stepped up and have matured. And there's going to be a lot of expectation on them. How are you preparing them for the coming season?
Well, we start a sophomore quarterback, Julian Garcia. And he played for us in our playoff game.
Okay.
And our last year's quarterback, A.J. Wright, we moved him to receiver.
Okay.
And so he'll play quarterback also. So we're really relying on our run game to kind of take the pressure off Julian as a sophomore. And our offensive line, as you'll see in a little bit, or another guest, he anchors a strong line for us.
Yes.
So that part, and then, a little change on defense, maybe scheme-wise. And that's kind of where we're looking at right now, that if we can get through the preseason without the injury bug getting us, that will be good.
And we recall that, or at least I know from experience, having called several of the games, and especially the one that goes back and grabs my attention was, of course, the Bell game 2 years ago. I believe maybe almost 3.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
The win right there at Wilson, huge, very, very good game. And I do remember the defense always stepping up. Your linebackers, middle and outside, safety coverage, very, very good. And I know you take pride in the linebackers.
Well, every win I've been associated with that's a big win has always been on the defensive side of the football. And I can go back, and we kind of always been known for throwing the football and putting the ball in the air and stuff like that. But the biggest wins I've been associated with have been a defensive game, and our defense has risen to the occasion when it comes to stuff like that. So, the little cliche of defenses win championships is, for me, it's always been true.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that we can do that this year.
Speaking with head coach Eddie Martinez of the Wilson Mules, very, very proud members of the Northern League. And again, Coach, we look now, we're kind of, as they say, wiping the slate clean to the point that the past is the past and 2014 is a history, and you're preparing for 2015. We've just started with some of the player personnel. And let's now look into, as you mentioned, maybe a couple of coaching additions, but then the schedule. Anything new in that respect with a couple of new schools maybe?
Same schools. We have 4 preseason games, or non-league games, and they're with the same schools. Roybal, Hollywood, Alhambra, and Santee. So those are the 4 schools, and then we get into the league. So that no changes there. I think our league also, it doesn't change much from year to year. We still have the same schools that are very competitive at the front end, and then the other schools that are we're a split league too. We have 3 divisions in our league.
Yes, and that always seems to be, at least from the head office of John Aguirre and I believe the sports office, they're always, it seems like, devising or looking to come up with new equations and new formulas.
The division right now, the way that they're dividing them up is based on your record for, every 2 years I think they look, and they probably should have done that when I was a player, and they let us go in the 3A too long. But now they're looking at every 2 years and they're releaguing, and they're kind of doing our modeling like the Southern section does, and they look and reevaluate and then move teams up and down. Okay,
and again, in the mix for 2015, certain players will step up. You're going to have captains on both sides of the ball. Would it be offense and defense?
Well, we have
certainly one team captain.
We have a primary captain, Daniel Avila.
Okay.
And right now, that was the person that we felt that was capable of being that one person. And he has his people that he's picked for co-captains and so on. But he primarily is our man, and we'll go the way he goes.
And we will be meeting up with him in our next segment as we bring him on. Daniel Avila, captain for the Wilson Mules of 2015. But, Coach, let's talk now about your depth chart. It's, as they say, sometimes when you don't have the bigger roster, you have to go with the smaller to medium size, but a lot of competition.
Yeah, and
right now for positions.
Yeah,
right?
I think too. It's always teams that can afford to platoon. They have a lot of people, and it seems like we never really had that situation at Wilson. So our kids go both ways. Daniel, as you mentioned, besides being an offensive lineman, he's also our defensive lineman, and he's probably the top player on both sides of the football for us. So that happens. Same too with our receiving group. They just switch around and they become DBs, and that's kind of traditional high school football.
Yes.
We're not. If you're lucky and you have 100 guys on your varsity team and you could two platoon, but I think your best football players need to be on the field, and in this case, the majority of them are on the field. So.
And you also mentioned, Coach, prior to this going on, I think a couple of new coaches on staff.
Yes. We. Our athletic director, our defensive coordinator, Courtney Griffith, stepped down. He has a 4-year-old daughter, and so he has a little more daddy time with his daughter, and that was good. I mean, I'd rather lose a coach to a 4-year-old than lose him to another team. But at the same token, we have had a young staff, and I'll say this is probably the best time I've had coaching with our staff because they're young, they're energetic. They're for the first time in a while. They're all Wilson alumni, and they range from different years. 1973, I believe, 74, the coaches to all the way to just recent, maybe about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So we have some well-known players like Ron Kusha is on our staff.
Yes.
Helps with our JV team. I have my son Derek and Dylan that are. Derek and Dylan are doing our offense, so I've given up the offense to them. I thought it needed a fresh perspective, new set of eyeballs, and so far they've done a great job.
Okay.
And then we have another storied football player from Wilson, Coach Martinez, that is the son of Steve Martinez, Ron's main target, and so. It's great because not only is that tradition still there, but these guys have all played at different places and kind of brought that back to Wilson High School. So a lot of our kids that have gone to college and played, I think you mentioned earlier Vicente Peña.
Yes.
When he was kicking at ELAC, he was coaching our kickers. And so we always are really proud of the fact that our kids come back and help.
Yes.
And I'm like I said, I'm thrilled to death. Just the fact that I get to see these young guys as players and now as coaches, and they're doing a great job.
Okay. Coach, we're going to talk about the non-league section here real quick. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll get into our second segment with you here where we talk about the schedule and, more importantly, the throwback game on September the 25th against the Lincoln Tigers.
No,
Franklin
Panthers, yeah.
The Franklin Panthers. That's going to be the bell. Okay, so that I stand corrected. I will clarify that again, that it will be the throwback game on September 25th and against the Franklin Panthers, and it's for, of course, the Victory Bell. But we're going to take a quick shot here now at the non-league schedule. As you mentioned, 4 games, and that's all in preparation for, of course, the Northern League.
Right.
But that's just days away, Coach. Game plan yet for the first opponent?
Probably, anytime you get in first games, there's not a lot about that opponent, and there's, you can look at last year's film, and if the team that you're playing has a new coach, then that's not going to be very useful. So we kind of go into the first game thinking, we really got to take care of us first and the things that we can control. And then, you make some adjustments when you get to that opponent. But, first game is, tackling, just it's not – I don't think it's a scheme game as much as you want to eliminate mistakes, and hopefully they make more mistakes than you. So that's the approach that we're taking. And like I said, so far, our main thing is running the football as opposed to teams in the past. We want to continue to do that and just be really aggressive.
Okay. And our viewers on East LA Sports Scene can follow you on your website.
Yes. We have WilsonMulesFootball.com.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page.
Yes. And
it's done by an outstanding gentleman, Peter Cabrera. He puts a lot of information on there. And so they can follow us on both. Both sites.
Okay. And the first opponent will be?
Roybal.
Again, Roybal. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on East LA Sports Scene as we speak with head coach Eddie Martinez of the Wilson Mules, and we're just talking football for the 2015 season. Don't go away. Be back in a minute. This is East LA Sports Scene. And here we are back onto the field of play, this time here in studio, speaking with an in-person guest, head coach Eddie Martinez, 31 years at the helm of the Wilson Mules program. And, Coach, you have seen a lot of football.
Yep.
And have been involved in so much and bringing young men to their mature level and then moving them on into college and into life. Just a quick reflection of that span of time, and my goodness.
Well, yeah, I've been in my 31st year of teaching, and I think I've been and coaching. I became the head coach there in '90, and yeah, we've seen a lot, and it's been great. I got to watch football players as a kid at Wilson, in the early years, and then I got to play there. So when it comes to coaching, my biggest compliment to a player is that those guys I watched or played with, that person could easily be interchanged into that era. And I've had the great luck of being around some good football players all these years.
Coach, I would venture to guess, or hopefully I would hope that I'm correct in putting you as the dean, one of the deans of varsity football.
Yeah, I think I looked at
in terms of tenure.
I looked at the directory that we have for coaches, and everybody's a first-year coach, second-year coach, and I think Mike Walsh at San Pedro has been doing it maybe a little longer. Robert Garrett at Crenshaw, and then I'm probably right there in the years. Yeah.
Definitely in the mix right there with the experience, Coach, and of course some great times with your players. Now let's talk about 2015. Let's kind of flash forward, Coach. The non-league games are over, and it's time for Northern League. The preview of that in terms of the conference, and then the Mules, where the Mules factor in.
I look at for us, like we open up with Franklin, and that's always a big game. And anybody that's followed Wilson football and Franklin football, obviously. But I think the teams that have always that have been strong the last couple of years, Eagle Rock's a Division I team now. Lincoln's a Division II team. And then Franklin, Sotomayor, Torres, and Marshall, and us actually are Division III teams.
Okay.
So you have different divisions are in that one league. But if you're going to compete for a league championship in the last couple of years, you got to go through Eagle Rock. They're the ones to beat always.
Okay.
And then, like I said, Lincoln's been strong the last couple of years. So
Yes.
That's the challenge of our league.
And it speaks for the conference itself, for the league itself. The Northern League has good players, Division I caliber players, Division II, III, but many players, student athletes, able to get to the next level after they finish high school. And it speaks well for the conference.
And I think we like to think in any of the East Side schools that we have good football players, and you might not see them on TV on Saturdays, but they're going to play at Division II schools and Division III schools, and they're going to continue their education and get that opportunity to keep on playing football.
And become young, good, and productive citizens in their communities.
Or become coaches at Wilson High School, like our guys.
Absolutely. that is a very, very strong possibility.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, let's go to that 9:25 game. It is for the bell, and it's right away, the throwback.
Yeah.
Okay, I was a little bit, not to cut you off, Coach, but I was a little confused when 2 years ago I remember doing the throwback game, but that was at Lincoln, and it just entered my mind just for a split second till, of course, you corrected me, and now the stronger emphasis now is on that game with the throwbacks.
And I think the concept that Lincoln actually started this a couple of years ago as part of their Kenny Washington Foundation, and they invited us to be a part of it. And now we kind of do it separate, but it's been a great feature for our program because it really gets the alumni people, alumni football players, in fact, excited. And so this one is no different. And I looked at the schedule and looked at the timing, and I go, man, this would be great if we get that 75 group to be standing behind us when we're playing for the bell. So. We knew that it was going to be a big game regardless, but the fact that we have our 75 guys there, it's even more tremendous. And they're teammates of mine. This is the first throwback that I was a part of that team. And so it's going to be fun to see a lot of the guys that when I was a sophomore, these guys were seniors, and they were tremendous. The leadership in that group was tremendous.
And it's good to see the schools being able to promote that that very theme of flash throwbacks to help generate funds for the current
yes,
team.
Yes, and that's probably the biggest thing that the alumni people look, are the sponsors. You know, you buy a jersey or you sponsor a kid, he gets a jersey for the game that he gets to keep, and then they get a jersey to wear at the game.
Yes.
So this throwback jersey is an all gold jersey.
Okay.
It's the first year we wore that was 1975, and we were kind of known as bananas back then because it was a gold helmet, a gold jersey, and gold pants. And Mr. Kusha, our coach back then, was a pretty good showman.
Okay.
And that uniform just stuck, and it became iconic for Wilson football. So that's why we're wearing that jersey.
And Coach, if we can kind of like look into that crystal ball on the halftime of that game, will there be certain acknowledgments for your team, former teammates that are coming out?
Yeah, the 75 team will be recognized at halftime.
Okay.
They'll be receiving certificates from Councilman Weezar's office. We'll have we have a lot of people traveling from very far. Our team captain that year was DJ Gutierrez, and he's a 3-time All-City player, and he's coming in from Chicago.
Wow.
We had players coming in from Florida, from Texas, Arizona.
Wow.
They're coming from all over.
Okay.
And the great thing is that we're probably about 85-90% participation in the number of guys coming. So it's great. I mean, we're looking forward to it.
Wow. Your videographer will have a lot
We'll have
to cover.
a great time, yes.
Okay, and again, for more information, viewers who want to look in behind the scenes and see more of how the project has been handled on your website, can they do that?
Yes, probably the primary place is the Facebook page.
Okay.
Wilson Mules Football Boosters. And there, again, we have something on there every day. It seems like a new thing. Profiles on some of the players, in 75, people that have purchased jerseys and so on. So it's been generating a lot of enthusiasm for us.
Okay. And then, as we say now, for going back to the schedule, at the end of the conference, maybe early November, mid-November, possibility of playoffs.
Yes, I think that's a very, very realistic goal for this team. And, I think early on we looked at upping, the goal a little bit. And there's no reason why this team can't compete for that Division III championship. And, it all goes to say, there's a little luck involved, but potentially this team could be very, very good. And we'll see week to week how they develop during the season, and how they make that journey. And I think that's the expectations for us. We're kind of really kind of reaching up right now for that.
Okay, Coach. And last but not least, the spirit factor, the administrative factor, your faculty, your principals, the vice principals, the mood and the buzz and the word on campus now is football is here.
Yes.
Can you describe how it's going so far?
It's always, I think, in any high school, if your football team gets off to a good start, and it just naturally builds for the whole school year. And it's always been that way at our school. And, when you have a good year, everybody kind of seems to be a little more, there's a lot of people that want to jump on that bandwagon, which is fine, because it's, we kind of look at it that, we represent Wilson High School, but everybody's involved. We got a lot of people that shine at our football games besides football players, drill team, boosters, bands, everything. So I think that's a good part of it. And I think our administration, we have a couple new administrators that haven't been used to Wilson football, and our principal, this is his third year. So he kind of has an idea because he was a principal at Franklin before.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I think so. I think we're looking forward to being a leader on campus and kind of lead that spirit train.
Okay. Well, Coach Eddie Martinez, we've been talking football here in the preparation. Quick look back at 2014, but of course, very positive outlook for any season, the start of any new season, 2015. We want to wish you all the best for that in terms of your coaching and your educating students at Wilson High School. Before we end the segment, though, Coach, I think I've never really had a chance to talk a little bit about your a personal side, a little up close and personal, like what does Coach Martinez do when he's not coaching and with family? And I always put a couple of favorite questions in here, and I'll ask you, if you don't mind at this time,
Yeah, sure.
some of your favorite teams, college or pro.
I follow college football more. I don't have a favorite college team. It's
Okay.
usually somebody I've seen at a clinic. You know, I want to see what they do and that kind of stuff. But I'm not an SC fan, UCLA
Okay.
fan. I like college football. Period.
All right. And let's see. Let's talk about some of your movies when you relax and when.
Oh, I watch a lot of movies. I think probably the one I put down was the Godfather movies because
Yes.
I love those. But yeah, any movie. I mean, I don't go to the movies a lot. I mostly watch them at home.
Sure.
But I enjoy kind of disappearing in a movie.
And that's with family, of course, and
Sure.
friends when you relax, and possibly on weekends after
Yeah.
the games.
Yep.
Favorite books, authors.
I'm a Stephen
music?
King guy.
Okay.
I like Stephen King books. My goal is to read a book during football season every year.
Okay.
And then music, I'm an old rocker,
Okay.
classic rocker guy from my time. And so I do listen to a lot of music.
Sure.
I do take that time. Me and my wife go to a lot of concerts in
Okay.
the off season
Wonderful.
and so on. So yeah.
And some of your artists and favorite artists and actors.
Oh, I'm a Jack Nicholson fan. I'm a
Okay.
Al Pacino fan. You know, those guys. I like kind of some of the newer guys.
Sure.
You know, Leo and all these guys like that. But I really like a good performance, and I think watching a good movie kind of inspires me in coaching because they do such a great job, and it's like I love great performances, and whether it's a musician or an actor, it kind of gets to me, and it kind of makes me want to do that. Not act, but coach.
Absolutely, but to excel
Yes.
in your craft.
Yes.
Okay, and then family.
My wife, man, she's been, we always have a saying that you coach because your wife or your girlfriend lets you coach. And if you don't take that thing, then you're in a world of trouble. And I've just been fortunate that my wife, Kathy, I met her in the 9th grade.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we just had our 28th wedding anniversary and
Wow.
plus 10 because
Yes.
we've been dating since 10. And so she's an ex-cheerleader at Wilson, ex-classmate, obviously, of mine. And then we have 3 great kids. 2 of them are coaching with me right now.
Derek and Dylan.
Derek and Dylan.
Yes.
And my daughter, Danielle, who
Okay.
was a great basketball player at Wilson.
Ah.
And so Derek and Dylan have completed their education. They went to Cal Lutheran, my alma mater.
Yeah.
And my daughter, Danielle, will graduate in December from Cal State Fullerton, and she's going into teaching also.
Oh, wow.
Elementary ed teaching.
Okay.
So Wilson football is big in our house because it's Wilson High School is big in our house.
It is.
And like I said, I've just been very blessed with having a great wife and a great family, and that's really where for me it goes. I mean, coaching's great, but I couldn't do it without them.
Okay.
Definitely.
And can't leave out mom and dad, persons that have had
yeah.
a huge impact
Yeah,
on you in your life.
My dad had to become a mom and everything because my mom passed away when I was 8,
Oh.
and so my dad jumped on the coaching bandwagon when I started playing football at 10 years old,
Oh.
and all through Pop Warner and high school, he was my biggest fan. And then when I got into high school coaching, my dad would one year he told me, I think I could turn some screws. And I could help you in that. So he was there. My dad passed a couple of years
Oh, my
ago, but
goodness.
he had we have a scholarship in his name.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, they're very influential because he, I kind of you model what your dad
Sure.
did to you, and I had a great experience with my father.
And some fellow coaches and mentors.
Yeah,
in your career?
even growing up, I grew up in a great time in El Sereno. Tom Wheatron, Bill Clark were my first 2 coaches,
Okay.
and they're heroes of mine still. And I, went to high school, and obviously Vic Kusha was a legend, and Augie Lambert was our assistant coach and baseball coach, and I wanted to be like Augie Lambert, and that's probably the reason I got into teaching.
Nice.
And then in college, I had a great historical coach, actually, Bob Schaup at Cal Lutheran.
Wow.
So. I've always been influenced by teachers and coaches, and that's no mistake of why I went in that field.
Yes.
And I figured, they had such an impact on me that it'd be great to be able to have that impact on other kids. And
Yes.
so that's what drove me to teaching.
And that old adage, each one, reach one, teach one.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
you know, there's so much that you, in your position, Coach, you have unconsciously, possibly or subconsciously, have helped
Right.
many of your former players to go on and
It-
become that beacon in life.
And it's great to see them, come back. I have a lot of players that are just, first and foremost, they're great husbands and fathers, and that makes me proud. Maybe not everybody can go to the NFL, like Anthony Denham,
Yes.
but yet. It's a thrill to see that young man reach a dream like that.
Yes.
And yet, on the other side of it, we have a lot of kids that over the years that I'm so proud of because, like I said, they're great family men. They're raising their kids in a great fashion, and we're that's the reward of teaching. That's the reward of coaching senior kids, and then, like I said, being able to coach with some of my former players is another thing. So I've been nothing but fortunate in all these years of coaching, and a great that's you lay the roots maybe way back then, and then it comes back, and so I'm reaping those fruits now, and it's fun. I'm having a blast.
Okay. And you did mention Anthony Denham. He was here earlier this
Yes,
summer,
yeah.
and he is the light is shining brightly on him, and he was very, very complimentary of you, and of course his coaches at Wilson High School, and he just tied everything so nicely together. And of course, good things happen to good people with good hearts, and there he is in the NFL. So you must be very, very proud of
very
him.
proud, very proud.
And as I mentioned also earlier, Vicente Peña, East LA College, he's come
Right.
back to play, and he's going to be their punter and place kicker. Punter, yes, and field goal kicker,
Right,
place
right.
kicker. He's very excited. We spoke with him
Yeah.
just this past week, and it seems that wherever they have gone, they always, if they were close to their coach, they come back and give you the credits and the props,
Oh.
and very thankful for what you've done for
They're
them.
Great young men. Great
Yeah.
young men.
Coach, we're going to ask the last question here, kind of tie things all together here. The biggest achievement, well, one of your biggest achievements or awards that you've had.
Well, I mean, when you coach, you obviously want to coach and you want to win a championship. And I was the benefit of 3 great championships in 75, 6, and 7. It was great memories, and we talked about that in our throwback game. Those guys, that was, they still relive it, And the championship that we won in '96 was, getting to coach at the Coliseum, doing all those things. That was such a special time, and I got, probably the biggest memory I have is sharing that with my dad.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was an equipment manager, and he probably turned like 2 screws the whole year, but it was just probably to get on the field.
Yeah.
But being able to share that with him and let him know that, hey, that's all these years I've done that to make you proud. I don't need that approval, but it just makes me feel good. So those are great memories, and I think, we get in it to mold young men.
Yes.
But winning a championship is very special, and it's very special for those players in
Yes.
future years.
So as a player and as a coach, tasted the fruits of victory at a high level, and Coach, we commend you for that. And as you continue down the path of coaching and teaching, may everything be successful for you.
Well, thank you.
In all that you do, and for your family. Coach, we're going to bring you back towards right at the end of our segment because we're going to take a break, and now it's going to be time to step aside, and we're going to come back after this break and bring in our next guest, and it's going to be Daniel Avila, the the captain of this year's Wilson High School Mules. Don't go away. Right back at you. And here we go now, welcoming the captain of the Wilson Mules, Daniel Avila, and he is going to have a very, very, very important role this season for Coach Eddie Martinez and the entire team. Daniel, welcome to the program.
Thanks to be here.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the passion, the love, the caring for the game. Where did it start?
Well, I didn't play Pop Warner like a lot of guys.
Okay.
Started my first year playing football in the 8th grade with my middle school team. So I
Okay.
was the UYFL football league
Okay,
out in Stevenson Middle School.
okay.
And proud part of Wilson football. I love the history behind Wilson football,
Okay.
and that's part of the
All right.
reason that brought me to the school.
And you're going to be a senior this year.
I am.
Okay, and your position, you're listing as a left guard and, of course, a defensive tackle. Coach Eddie Martinez says you're going to be on both sides of the ball.
Yes, going to be both sides of the ball.
And how are you going to accept that? Are you now mentally preparing to do that and physically staying sound and ready and capable to endure a whole season?
Yeah, last season, both sides of the ball, starting role 2, losing a lot of senior after my sophomore year. So I'm used to going both sides of the ball. I enjoy it. Love helping my team as much as I can.
And there's an accolade you earned last year
Yes.
in Northern League, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so last year got the first team Northern League, All Northern League for the defensive tackle position.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure how many sacks I got, but I did get
Okay.
sacks and
Okay.
one interception, which I'm
Okay.
pretty proud of.
And, of course, capping off the year with a trip to the playoffs.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And now, coaches have met with the team. Basically, the camp has been since early, I would say early August or late July, where the team was able to practice. And let's look back at the preparation for this year. Things are a little different personnel-wise and attitude-wise maybe, and physically with a few more athletes coming onto the team. Let's give your opinion of that.
Yeah, well, coming into the season, we have a lot of chemistry as a team, a lot of returnees from last year. Just everybody used to being around each other. Everybody knows each other's limitations. And, again, new young coaches, new perspectives is always great. It's good for us to be around new perspectives. So that's a good thing.
And let's see, also now we also want to mention your academic school at Wilson, because we know that many high schools have diversified and have brought academies onto campuses and opened up different avenues of educational sources. And at Wilson, we now see that there is a police academy magnet.
Yes, so
Let's talk a little bit about that. That's very interesting.
Wilson Police Academy Magnet, it's a magnet program on campus. It's one of the, I believe, 7 small learning communities in Wilson.
Okay.
I'm the captain of the Police Academy Magnet. We have a we have a ranking system. So
Okay.
Yep, I'm
Wonderful.
the top ranked cadet in the magnet.
Okay. And the educational curriculum, would that be offered by LA Unified in conjunction with the law enforcement agency?
Yes, so most of our classes are, again, magnet classes, along with the law magnet, which is also at Wilson. So most of our classes are pretty high caliber classes, different from the regular school.
Okay.
Also, we have our one PT class, which we do have class time with LAPD officers and
Oh.
now school police.
Oh, okay. And with all of that going to be going into your educational background, coupling it with your athletic capabilities, it would appear that your future is going to be very bright. You can go either athletically or scholarship-wise, playing football possibly, or right there in academics, pursue a career. Preparations for that, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, taking 4 APs this year, so trying to get my GPA up so I can play college football. I want to play football at the next level, and I also want to get a bachelor's degree, criminal justice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
And favorite class right now?
Favorite class right now is AP psychology.
Ah, okay. So you're taking, as they say, the heavy load.
Yeah, heavy load, heavy load.
Heavy load. But again, you're encouraged by family.
Oh, yes.
And of course, your coaches.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about family. Born or raised in the area, and
Oh,
you mentioned Stevenson.
Yeah, born and raised in Borough Heights. My
Okay.
home school's Roosevelt. Most of my family went to Roosevelt, but like
Okay.
I said, Wilson history, the Police Academy magnet drew me to Wilson. And so, again,
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit now about the biggest highlight of your career at Wilson.
so of course, being chosen by Coach Martinez as the team captain is amazing.
Okay.
First team all league is also a big accomplishment. Just my most memorable moment was getting that pick my junior year last season.
Okay.
That was really fun.
And now it came again. Let's just describe the scenario for that.
Yeah, so it was I believe we were on the, I want to say 15-yard line against Roy Ball, our season opener last season,
Okay.
and it just popped up. Quarterback got sacked by our defensive end, Michael Hawkins, at the time, and quarterback threw the ball up. I fortunate enough to grab it and run a little bit before going down.
Okay.
That was exciting.
All right. And let's see. Also, in terms of your, you mentioned the athletic award you received, but academics, some acknowledgments there or some accolades.
Academics always, I maintain a 3.0 GPA, so that's always a
Okay.
good thing at school.
Okay. Now, persons who've had the biggest impact on you as a young man now, even younger than now. But those memories have been very, very deep and powerful. Talk about some of the people that have impacted you.
Okay, so of course my parents, my mom, my dad. Just every day, my mom's washing my dirty clothes, getting me ice for injuries, and just mom and dad are huge help. Love my parents. Coach Martinez, of course, huge mentor. Coach Griffith, the retired former Coach Courtney Griffith, was a big impact on my life. I see him a lot. Police Academy, he's our instructor, so I'm around Coach Griff a lot. Of course, the rest of my defensive coaches, Coach Robert Darling, Willie Martinez, now Coach Lou Dean Montenegro. So.
And might there be other siblings you have, brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have a younger sister, Samantha. She goes to Roosevelt.
Ah, okay. And mom and dad always there providing for you, taking care of you?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever your need may be?
Yep.
Great. They're there for you.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, your educational and career goals, we've just touched on them, but if you had to package it after the season, your first preference, you'd want to continue on and play at a Division I school, maybe Division II? Continue athletics?
Emailing a bunch of D2, D3 schools. My offensive line coach thinks I can go D1, but I wish I was bigger, of course. So that's a big goal, to play for a high caliber competition school for college.
And working with the coaches.
Yes.
Of course. As Coach Martinez mentioned a little bit before the program, there's going to be a new scouting system, or a new player profile system that you'll be taking advantage of, where the highlight reels can be put together and then either sent or shared with those recruiters from schools. Your thoughts on that?
As a player who has to, make my own highlight film on Huddle, it's always a big challenge to do. Having this extra outlet to, get our stats up, which we haven't been able to do in recent years, is just huge help for our own recruiting process and moving along to the next level.
Okay. Again, you are very, very aware of your environment to know A plus B plus C is going to have to equal something at the end of that formula, and it's going to be a very, very, very good things. We feel that for you, because you're committed. You're in a very, very responsible position, and you accept leadership.
Yes.
So we acknowledge you. We acknowledge that for you, and we compliment you.
Thank you.
Commend you for that. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the favorites on your list. Football teams, whether college or pro.
College, I enjoy watching football. No really favorite college team. Pro football team, I am a Cowboys fan.
Okay.
Me and my dad are Cowboys fans.
Okay. And players, let's talk about them. Any favorites?
I always enjoy watching Vince Wilfork. He's with the Texans now.
Yes.
Former Patriots nose guard. I also like watching Tyron Smith. It's a Dallas tackle.
Okay.
Perfect form. Just big nasty O lineman.
And so when you're watching the games, of course, and you're practicing, is there an extra period of time you may do on your own for strength and conditioning, just to be a little extra prepared?
Well,
Does that happen?
In the mornings, I like to stretch. I stretch at night. I walk through my plays. As soon as the film's up after games, I'm probably the first one to jump on, aside from the coaches, to see what I can do, see if I can change my game and get better every day.
Okay. All right. And now, when you're not playing football, you're not studying, you're not working, so to speak, in football or playing in football, you've got to relax. So I have a question for you: movie or movies, your favorites?
Probably big football movie is Remember the Titans. It's probably my favorite movie.
All right. And let's continue with music.
Yeah, music, not too really picky on the music, but I listen to a lot of the band Volbeat.
Okay.
I'm also a big fan of Al Green and Brenton Wood. I like the slow little calm down before games.
Okay. All right. And then on game day, let's give our fans and our viewers a typical game day. If we can't put in the game mind and face together, anything special you do on campus before games?
Campus, I eat a lot during school is a big thing. I want to make sure that I'm going to have the energy for the game, and that's pretty much my only activity that I do pretty religiously on game days, is make sure I eat enough.
Okay.
Yep.
And then at a certain time, it's kind of structured for, if it's a night game, by 2 or 3, the pregame meal maybe, and then other time to maybe get with your teammates and talk things up.
always big breakfast, good lunch. We do have the pregame meal from, after school for about an hour or so. So that's always good for us to be together and relax just before the game. And
Okay.
yeah.
Now, as we mentioned with Coach Martinez, September 25th, the big rivalry,
Yes.
and it's throwback.
Yes.
And it's with Franklin, of course.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that? Not to signal out that we're asking you to signal a particular game, but the importance of that for the campus, the school, the program, because it's being very well followed. And as Coach Martinez said, his teammates will be coming from all parts of the country. Your thoughts on that? Can you insert yourself into that moment, even though the season hasn't started? But your expectations on that day?
Well, as a player, I did play varsity my sophomore year, so I got the chance to win the bell that year, 2013, I believe. And I also got the chance to lose the bell last year, which was a huge disappointment for myself. As a senior, I do see the importance now of the bell and just how much pride it brings to the school, the community, and the bell's going to be a big game. I don't want to let anybody down in the community.
And, of course, the throwback jersey. What will the team be suited up with on that particular night? Has that been revealed to the players yet? In terms of the game itself, will Franklin have a certain color? Or what?
Still talking about it.
Okay.
I'm not too sure how Franklin's going to do, but I know Wilson's pretty excited for the mustard yellow jerseys.
Yeah, so what that throwback that they are now selling
Yes.
to the community and to alumni, that will be what you'll wear that
Oh, yes.
on that given day.
So
Okay.
same jerseys that the community's getting. That's the jerseys we're going to be getting.
Okay.
It's a big hope that everybody buys the jerseys, so we have the money to. Fortunately, we're able to keep the jerseys, which is just a huge
Yes.
bonus to our future alumni days, where we could look back on these throwback games.
Okay. And Daniel, just in the few minutes that we have left here to conduct our interview, anything that you'd like to share with our viewers? And we have them in all ages and types and lifestyles. We have the Pop Warner kids up to the veteran folks that have been watching the show for. We've been doing it for 25 years. Anything you'd like to share with them, or give a message of inspiration to the young players? Feel free to do that.
My biggest thing is something I live by every day is achieve greatness. And
Achieve greatness.
something I learned from Coach Griff is two things in life you could always control, is your attitude and your effort, which is I follow that too every day. It's if I'm having a bad day, I can choose whether or not to affect my life, choose whether or not to affect my day, and that's just something I think everybody should live by, is attitude and effort, things you can control, and everybody should pursue excellence.
Absolutely. And of course, as you say, going through life, building relationships is key and very, very critical for success to be attained at any level. And we see you as a man of choice. You're going to be able to go, whether it's through sports or through a career, and we certainly commend you on looking into law enforcement.
Yes.
And my final question on that, might it be with the sheriff's department or with a police department?
I'm more on the lines of Los Angeles Police Department, just because it's the greatest city in the world.
Okay.
Greatest city. They've done so much for me as a citizen. I just want to give back and be local in my community.
Okay. Daniel Avila, you've met him up close and personal. Now, what's left to do is go out and support this young man, go out and watch him on Friday nights.
Yes.
There'll be at least 4 to 5 home games at Wilson High School. They'll compete non-league, and then they'll get into the Northern League, and then hopefully into the playoffs. Daniel, we want to thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Okay,
us.
and we're going to have Coach Martinez come right back. Don't go away. Then we're going to do our wrap-up here on East LA Sports Scene. We'll be back in just a moment. And welcome back to this edition of East LA Sports Scene as we talk 2015 high school football. And we have had the pleasure and, of course, just the bright moments here with Coach Eddie Martinez and his captain, Daniel Avila, here from Wilson High School. They are excited. They're ready to go, and many, many good things will happen for them this season. And as we do, Coach, on our as they say, this segment here is just our farewell or a so long segment for a moment, but we always give you the last word, Coach, to look into the camera and send forth any message that you'd like to colleagues, players, students. It's all yours.
Just like to thank people for supporting us, and I think this is a really great group of kids that we have at Wilson. We're excited. Our enthusiasm is kind of going through the roof in terms of what we look at having a successful football season. So come out and see us. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy the product. We're looking to avenge a lot of losses that we've accrued over the past 2 years. But I want to make this really special for our seniors and a good going away.
All right. Thank you, Coach Eddie Martinez. Now, right over back to Daniel Avila. Parting words here for our viewers.
Just like my coach said, thank you for supporting us throughout the years. I know it's been kind of rough the past couple of years, but just thank you for the support. Come out to see us. I think you guys will be surprised with what this new team has to offer.
Okay, there you have it. Daniel Avila, head coach Eddie Martinez. We thank you both sincerely for coming in and sharing some time here as you get ready for the big kickoff coming up just Friday, Roy Ball, and that'll be on the road. Okay, and we will be following the Wilson Mules as we always have, and this year we'll hopefully get some highlight reels, some stories possibly. Coach, you mentioned that possibly is being in the mix, and then we'll do our roundup here for all schools that we cover here on East LA Sports Scene. So for Eric Sarney, yours truly, Rico Cabrera, thanks for watching, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more high school football coming up very, very soon here on East LA Sports Scene. Take care, and remember, stay healthy. You will be wealthy. Get one of your workouts in, whether it's walking, swimming, jogging, you name it. Team sport, softball. Do that. We want you around for quite a long time. So, till we're together again, take care, and we will see you soon.